Malaysia and give the floor now to Pakistan.
Thank you, Madam President. We should get used to saying Madam President in this hall and more often in the UN system. Pakistan has voted in favor of the resolution just adopted. In doing so, we reaffirm our long-standing and principled position on the question of Palestine based on the inalienable right of the Palestinian people to self-determination and the establishment of an independent, viable, and contiguous state of Palestine on the basis of the pre-1967 borders with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital, in accordance with the relevant resolutions of the United Nations and international legitimacy. Pakistan has, without prejudice to its long-standing and principled position on the question of Palestine, endorsed the outcome document entitled New York Declaration on the Peaceful Settlement of the Question of Palestine and the Implementation of the Two-State Solution of the High-Level International Conference convened in New York from 28th to 30th of July. This endorsement reflects Pakistan's consistent commitment to the realization of a just and lasting peace. Pakistan strongly condemns the ongoing Israeli aggression in Gaza, which has claimed the lives of over 64,000 people. The relentless destruction of homes, schools, hospitals, and other civilian infrastructure constitutes a grave violation of international humanitarian law and has inflicted untold suffering on the Palestinian people. Equally alarming are the continuing attempts by the occupier to expand illegal settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory in flagrant defiance of international law and relevant Security Council resolutions. These actions not only exacerbate the humanitarian catastrophe, but are also an attempt to undermine the prospects for a two-state solution. Israeli illegal actions and blatant violations of international law across the Middle East are endangering international peace and security in the region. It must not escape accountability. Pakistan calls for an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire across Gaza and all occupied Palestinian territories, and full and unimpeded humanitarian access to the besieged and starved Palestinian population. Lasting peace requires a credible political horizon, one grounded in international law, and for this, the occupation must end, and for that is the actual root cause of instability in the Middle East. The convening of the International Conference on the Two-State Solution, co-chaired by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the French Republic, was a timely and necessary initiative to generate renewed momentum and to translate international commitments into concrete actions, advancing the long overdue realization of the Palestinian people's right to self-determination and statehood. It must be followed by concrete and coordinated international action to finally achieve the long-coveted peace and stability in the Middle East. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Pakistan and give the floor to Algeria, followed by Nicaragua.
Madam President, this conference and the endorsement of this so-called declaration are not a serious attempt at peacemaking. These are procedural tactics, a misuse of this assembly to force through by the back door what cannot stand at the negotiating table. Once again, we see externally drafted texts rushed forward without transparency or any debate in this assembly. This erodes the legitimacy and trust of the UN. This one-sided declaration will not be remembered as a step toward peace, only as another hollow gesture that weakens this assembly's credibility. This is not diplomacy. It is theater, a carefully staged performance for headlines, not for peace. It doesn't shorten the war, it prolongs it. It does not weaken Hamas, it rewards them. It does not advance negotiations, it undermines them. And so we must ask, who benefits? Not the hostages in Hamas captivity, not the people of Gaza, not those who pray for real peace. The only beneficiary is Hamas. Consider France's recent pledge of statehood. Hamas welcomed it, praising, and I quote, they called it the political and moral pressure it puts on Israel. When terrorists are the ones cheering you, you have to ask yourself what you are doing. Some members of this assembly treat this conference like a virtual reality game. You put on the headset and imagine peace is imminent, but it is only an illusion, entirely detached from reality. The reality is that Hamas still rules parts of Gaza, armed, entrenched, and vowing to strike again. To pretend otherwise is not diplomacy. It is delusion. You called in this so-called declaration for Hamas, and I quote, to end its rule in Gaza. Very nice, very impressive. This assembly may not openly speak it, but all of you know it. Israel is expected to remove Hamas from the equation. It's very nice that you mention it, but who is going to do it? It is on our shoulder to make it happen. We are left to do the real work, to eliminate Hamas, the ultimate obstacle to peace. And make no mistake, Hamas is the biggest winner of any endorsement here today. By the time the speeches conclude, they will congratulate you. They will declare this is the fruit of October 7th. This is their reward for storming across our borders, slaughtering entire families in their homes, burning people alive, kidnapping children and the elderly, raping women, and dragging hundreds into captivity. And now, with this declaration, they learn a deadly lesson, that such savagery brings political reward. That lesson is as dangerous as any weapon. And if anyone doubts that Hamas will continue down this path, look no further than this week's terrorist attack at a bus stop in Jerusalem. Innocent civilians gunned down as they waited for their morning commute. That is the proof. Hamas and its allies will not stop. They do not seek peace. They test again and again whether terror still pays. Madam President, this declaration is one-sided. It does not designate Hamas as a terrorist organization, and it dares to equate the release of Israeli hostages with the release of convicted terrorists. Shame on you. This meaningless political maneuver takes place while innocent people remain blindfolded in Gaza's tunnels, starved, tortured, waiting. Meanwhile, many members of this assembly blindfold themselves by choice. By endorsing this declaration, you cover your own eyes. You choose not to see the truth, to ignore the facts. Israel will not wear that blindfold. We see the hostages. We see the terror. We see this declaration for what it is, a political gesture, an act of theater. Madam President, we will not allow Hamas to win in this assembly what it could not gain on October 7th.